Hello, welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be discussing over my preview and predictions for the MLS Cup playoffs conference finals. So let's get ready with the video. There's only four teams left for the MLS Cup playoffs, and today we're going to figure out which two will be advancing to the MLS Cup final. On the East, you have Inter Miami against New York City FC, and then on the West, you have San Diego FC going up against the Vancouver Whitecaps. So today we're going to be discussing my predictions for these conference finals and who will be facing off in the MLS Cup finals. So let's get on with the video. But before we continue, I'd like to tell you guys to like and subscribe because it is very important that you guys like and subscribe so you guys gonna miss another video. So we'll be starting off with my prediction for the Eastern Conference Final. The team from the Empire State, NYCFC, will be going down south to the Sunshine State to face Inter Miami. So let's discuss a little bit about both teams. Starting off first with New York City FC. They managed to reach this far into the playoffs, and I'm kind of shocked. Out of the four teams, I think they're the team with the least amount of talents, especially considering because Alonso Martinez, their best offensive player, and their striker is going to be out for the remainder of the playoffs. He didn't play against Philly, and I was kind of shocked that NYCFC managed to eliminate Philly, which were the Community Shield champions. So yeah, I'm kind of shocked, but I think large thanks due to Matt Freeze, who's been very good during these playoffs, especially against Philly. He was the man of the match, in my opinion, and he showed why he is the starting goalkeeper for the USMNT. And Nico Fernandez has been a pretty good so far in the playoffs as well. So yeah, they have a little bit of talent, but when compared to Inter Miami have looked far better, and well, on paper they have more quality. You obviously have Lionel Messi, who I think should win MVP again. Then you got obviously the big names, Luis Suarez, Sergio Busquets, Jordi Alba, and Rodrigo De Paul. Something that shocked me a little bit was that Javier Mascherano actually was willing to bench Luis Suarez in favor of a prospect, Matteo Silvetti, which Silvetti has managed to change a lot of things for Inter Miami, especially on the counter. Luis Suarez is no like he's obviously not the player he used to be, and he's much slower. So Matteo Silvetti has managed to help Inter Miami a lot, especially on the counterattack. And I think that just adds more to what Messi can do because now Messi has the through ball option, which will with Luis Suarez, I don't think that was much of an option considering that Luis Suarez was La Tortuga. So yeah, Matteo Silvetti has managed to change a lot of things for Inter Miami, especially on the counter. So my prediction for this game, although I do think it's kind of stupid for an Miami fan just to think that NYCFC will just roll over and die because they managed to reach this far into the postseason for a reason. But I do think you cannot ignore the way that Inter Miami has played so far during these MLS Cup playoffs, especially during the conference semifinals where they just destroyed Cincinnati. So I do think NYCFC will put up more of a fight, but I don't think it will be enough. My prediction will be that Air Miami beats them 3-1. Now let's discuss about the Western Conference Final. The Vancouver Whitecaps will be facing off against another California side, but this time they'll have to travel across the border, go near the Mexican border literally to face off against San Diego FC. So let's discuss first about the Whitecaps. The Whitecaps had one of the best playoff matches that I've ever seen against LAFC. That game like ranks up there with just like an unreal game. And I was kind of surprised that they managed to survive extra time with 10 men. So yeah, like hats off to the Whitecaps. They played their butts off for that game, and just an unreal performance. Let's discuss a little bit about San Diego FC. San Diego FC, they didn't play their best game against Minnesota United due to the playing conditions. The field was very shitty. I just have to say, like the field was very shitty. It was a very sloppy game, but San Diego still managed to control the game. And Dreyer scored an absolute clutch goal, an absolute rifle of a shot to beat Dane Sinclair. I think he's had a very good season, and I do think if it weren't for Lionel Messi, I do think he'll be the MVP of the season and just an absolute amazing player that San Diego has. Now discussing about my predictions for this game, I do think this will be the game to watch during the weekend just because the talent on both teams is just like very even. I think this is going to be the most even matchup out of the two matchups for this weekend, and both teams can offer a hell of a game. On San Diego, outside of Andres Dreyer, obviously you have other guys too. Verskov, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but the defensive mid, he's very good. The other day that they have Verskov, very good defensive mid, and then in the midfield, you also have Anival Godoy, although he's pretty advanced in his age, but he played a pretty good game against Minnesota United. And I do think if Irving Lozano could start for this game, I do think that San Diego attack gets even better just because of his dynamic ability and the counterattack presence that he just holds because he's a very quick player. And then this is also a team with a lot of prospects, especially with Lucan Bombino playing left back. Just a very interesting prospect. I do think he'll have a future with the national team in some way, shape, or form, at least as a Gold Cup player, because from what I saw this season, he does have interesting potential. And then on the Whitecaps, outside of Thomas Muller, you obviously have Sebastian Berhalter. Had an unreal performance against Uruguay, scoring a golazo and also providing an assist. And then comes back against LAFC and has an unreal performance. And he even got better once the Whitecaps went down to 10 men. So, yeah, that talks a lot about Sebastian Berhalter. Andres Cubas also had an unreal performance against LAFC. Both defensive mids just offer an insane work rate. Edier Ocampo, dynamic fullback. Then on the wings, Ahmed and Sabi just offer a lot of quickness. So I do think this matchup is gonna be very even, but I do think the Whitecaps will edge out San Diego FC, just considering the fact that the Whitecaps have more experience. So I think in another classic matchup, I think the Whitecaps edge out San Diego FC in extra time 3-2. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.